Okay, and I'll explain what this means, all of this. Now, the liberal view, what the liberal view is, they agree with the conservatives to keep the market economy going. Okay, how they differ from the conservatives is how do you keep the market economy going? They see that the market economy doesn't reach everybody. They see that, for instance, you could have strong family values and be very religious, yet this isn't going to help you if there's no jobs, during the Depression, or you're getting paid very low wages in this. Or you're old and you're retired. Okay, so they would argue in order to keep the market economy going, you need government intervention. Certain programs like welfare, Social Security. Okay, for instance, Social Security, think about how many elderly in the United States would be poor right now if we didn't have Social Security. So here's a successful liberal program. But they want to keep the market economy going. A movie that represents a liberal view is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. They showed Willy Wonka, okay, in that, he came from a family, but, mother, father, whatever, but it was just not a good family. Not everybody's going to come from a healthy family. That's just not reality, okay? And people like that need help. And you see Willy Wonka, the problems that here's a man who became economically successful, yet he was all alone and he had problems, okay? And you can see that throughout the movie, okay? And so it's kind of a liberal movie in that we have an understanding of how we got that way. And it's because that it's not everybody could have have a good family to help them. That's just not reality. Now, by the way, the movie has a happy ending. Charlie, the character Charlie and his family adopts Willy Wonka, and Willy Wonka, you could see, is very happy finally. However, that's not everybody. A lot of people aren't going to have that. So the implication is there needs to be something else to help people like a Willy Wonka. Okay, now that's a liberal view. Now, what's the radical left view? Radical left, all that means, boys and girls, is to change whatever the society is to something new. Okay, in other words, to change the market economy to something, in this case, we'll change to a new society and to a better society. By the way, radical left, we have that in our history. The American Revolution was a radical left movement. No more kings. Our country was under a king of England. We had the revolution. We set up a constitution. No more kings. Now we have a country based on a constitution and election. Okay, that was a revolution. That was a radical left movement. The second radical left movement we had in our history was under Abraham Lincoln, the Civil War. Okay, we moved from a slave economy to a market economy. We ended slavery. We moved to something new. The idea here, radical left view, is to move to something new and better. Obviously, in our history, we did move to something new and better. Away from kings, and we ended slavery, so we moved to something better. Now, a movie that represents the radical left view is March of the Penguins. Okay, that movie, you may say, well, it's a documentary about birds. How's that radical left? Well, the director shows with penguins, you see males and females taking turns hatching the eggs. All the penguins are huddled together to survive the cold. You see hundreds of them, maybe even thousands of them. They're all huddled. They help raise each other's little baby penguins. Okay, you see the male and female taking turns going to get food to bring back to their mate and to the baby penguin. Okay, so we see a sharing society based on cooperation. Now, the point, maybe what the director was making here, what makes it a radical left movie, in that market economy is based on competition. Look at that society, how they survived living in the South Pole, super cold, and they did it based on sharing, cooperation. And the argument here is, if a bird could figure it out, birds have little brains. If you're called a bird brain, boys and girls, that's an insult, because that means you have a little brain. The thing about it, if a bird could figure out how to do cooperation, what about us with this great brain we have? We can't figure out sharing society or cooperative society where we could all thrive. So that's why that movie represents a radical left view. Now, within each movement, there are organizations that differ on certain issues. For instance, conservatives, even among conservatives, you got conservatives who are against birth control, and you have conservatives who use birth control. You've got conservatives who are against divorce, and then you also have conservatives who are divorced. Ronald Reagan, for instance, conservative president, with Nancy Reagan, that was his second wife. He got divorced. Okay, so he was married to someone else before, had a child with someone else before. So, you know, on certain issues, even if a person's conservative, they differ on certain things. Their premise is the same, you know, family values and religion, but there may be differences on that. Now, liberals, for instance, you have some liberals who support the death penalty, some liberals who are against the death penalty. You have some liberals who differ on health care. Some are not necessarily for universal health care, a lot are, and then they differ on what kind of universal health care, how should it be set up. So even among that group, there's differences. Now, radical left, you have a radical left that supports a totalitarian bureaucracy. In other words, setting up a bureaucratic government and running things that way. Okay, that's what was set up in the former Soviet Union, and that's what's set up in China. That's one radical left movement. The other one is economic democracy. This TV show is against what was set up in China and in the former Soviet Union. We are against a totalitarian bureaucracy. We are for economic democracy. And what do we mean by that? A radical left view, movement, economic democracy. What do we mean? Economic democracy is the collective ownership or control by the workers of the factories, mills, mines, railroads, land, and all other apparatuses of producing. Okay, we the workers run it, and we run it democratically. We run the workplace. Economic democracy means producing to satisfy human needs, not as under the market economy for selling and profit. Okay, we produce things what we need. For instance, you know, the truth is it's more profitable to treat cancer. So they come up with better insulin so you can live 50 years, but you still have the disease. In an economic democracy, we're looking for a cure. It's not very profitable. You get a shot, you're cured. Or teach people how to prevent. Most diabetes can be prevented. Okay? So, you know, to teach people that way, to prevent it, is not profitable either. Okay? Or not very profitable. We are talking about a different type of society, to work for what our needs are, not for profit. Sometimes what's for profit does benefit, that is our needs, but sometimes, a lot of times it's not. For instance, a cure for cancer is not very profitable. A cure for diabetes is not very profitable. And to prevent heart disease is not very profitable. We're talking about a future society where things are prevented and cured. Okay. By the way, boys and girls, I'm not, you know, there may not be a cure for cancer. I don't know. There may not be a cure for diabetes. I don't know. But the way the market economy is set up, they're not looking for a cure either. So this is why I'm saying this. And if there is a cure, it's going to be very difficult for it to come through in a market economy. If it does come through in a market economy, some scientists at a university will come up with the cure. And by the time the cure hits where people can buy this cure, that's going to take a lot of time. So we're talking about a different type of society where we're looking for what's good for us, our needs, to satisfy human needs. Economic democracy also means true command and administration of the industries and social services by the workers through a democratic government based on their economic organization and not controlled and managed by a fraction of a percentage of the population as in the market economy.